Hänsel and Gretel. Once upon a time, at the edge of a deep forest, there lived a poor woodcutter, his wife, and his two children, Hänsel and Gretel. Times were hard, and their cupboards were often bare. Yet, in their little cottage, there was still warmth, for Hänsel and Gretel loved each other dearly, and their father cared for them with all his heart. One evening, when the moon shone pale through the window, the children overheard their stepmother whispering harshly,
"There is not enough food for us all. Tomorrow we must take the children deep into the forest."
Gretel trembled, but Hänsel squeezed her hand.
"Don't be afraid,"
he whispered gently.
"I will find a way."
That night, while everyone else slept, Hänsel slipped outside. The moonlight glistened on white pebbles along the path. He filled his pockets and returned to bed with a calm smile. The next morning, the stepmother led the children deep into the woods, but as they walked, Hänsel dropped the pebbles one by one. When night fell and their parents did not return, Hänsel said,
"Do not worry, little sister. Look, there is our path."
And under the bright moon, the white pebbles shone like silver. The children followed them safely back home. The stepmother was furious, and soon after, the same plan was made again. This time, Hänsel wanted to gather more pebbles, but the door was locked. He thought quickly, and as they walked, dropped tiny pieces of bread instead. Deeper and deeper into the forest they went, until they were left alone once more. But when the moon rose, Hänsel looked for the path. Alas, the bread had been eaten by the birds of the forest. Gretel wept, but Hänsel put his arm around her shoulders.
"We are together,"
he said softly.
"and as long as we are, we will find a way."
They wandered until they were weary, and at last they saw something wonderful, a little house, shining in the sunlight. Its roof was made of gingerbread, its windows of sugar, its walls of cake. Hungry and amazed, the children broke off a piece to eat. Suddenly, the door creaked open, and an old woman appeared. She smiled kindly and said,
"Come inside, little ones. You must be hungry and tired."
Hänsel and Gretel stepped in, and the house seemed warm and safe. But what they did not know was that the old woman was really a wicked witch who built her sweet house to lure children in. The next morning, the witch locked Hänsel in a cage and told Gretel she must work. Yet Gretel was clever and brave, though she pretended to obey. The witch ordered Hänsel to stretch out his finger so she could see if he was fat enough to eat. But Hänsel held out a little bone instead, and the witch, nearly blind, thought he was still too thin. Day after day, Gretel cared for her brother, until at last the witch grew impatient.
"Tomorrow I will eat him, whether he is fat or thin."
That night, Gretel held Hansel's hand through the bars and whispered,
"Do not lose hope. I will save us."
The next morning, the witch built up the fire in the oven. She told Gretel,
"Crawl in and see if it is hot enough."
but Gretel, with a calm voice, replied,
"I do not know how. Please show me."
Impatient, the witch leaned in to demonstrate, and quick as a flash, Gretel gave a great push and closed the door. The witch was gone forever. Gretel ran to her brother, freed him from the cage, and together they laughed with relief. In the corners of the witch's house, they found boxes filled with pearls and jewels.
These will help Father,
Hansel said, and with light hearts they set out through the forest once again. The path home was long, but the birds sang to guide them, and the trees seemed to open the way. At last they reached their father's cottage. He rushed to embrace them, tears of joy in his eyes. The cruel stepmother was gone, and from that day forward the little family lived in peace, with enough food and enough love to last forever. And so, dear one, the story of Hansel and Gretel reminds us, even in dark forests, hope and courage will lead the way home. Now, close your eyes, feel safe and warm, and drift gently into sweet dreams.